When Jaime, a young architect, moved to a new city to begin his professional life, he searched for a house he could renovate and transform into his dream home. His budget was limited, but when he saw a listing for a property on Sunflower Street at a surprisingly low price, he couldn't resist. There was something peculiar. The house number wasn't listed in official records, and the neighbors insisted there was no number 13 on that street. Yet, there it was, a dilapidated Victorian house, its windows covered in dust and its garden overgrown, as if untouched for years. Jaime thought he had stumbled upon a hidden gem. With a bit of work, this house will be amazing, he told himself as he signed the papers. From the moment he moved in, the house exuded a strange energy. Lights flickered. The floors creaked even when the wind was still, and the mirrors seemed to reflect shadows that shouldn't be there. At first, Jaime attributed all to the house's age. He spent his first days repairing the main rooms, but soon discovered a hidden door behind an old wardrobe in the basement. The door led to a staircase that descended far deeper than should have been possible, given the house's dimensions. Curious but uneasy, Jaime grabbed a flashlight and ventured down. What he found left him frozen. A room with walls covered in strange inscriptions and filled with old personal items, like watches, jewelry, and faded photographs of people he didn't recognize. That night, Jaime experienced the first of many disturbing dreams. In them, he wandered through endless hallways within the house, pursued by a whisper that seemed to come from everywhere. The shadows in his dreams were thick, almost tangible, and he always felt something watching him from the corner of his vision. When he woke, Jaime couldn't shake the feeling of not being alone. Objects in the house seemed to have shifted slightly, and the mirrors now reflected more than his image. Fleeting faces that vanished in the blink of an eye. Determined to uncover the truth, Jaime visited the local library and learned that the house at number 13 had a dark history. Built in the late 19th century, it once belonged to a wealthy family, the Vasquez, who mysteriously vanished without a trace. Since then, every owner had reported paranormal events before abandoning the property. One article contained a chilling detail. The house is said to be alive, feeding on the souls of those who dare to live within it. As Jaime continued exploring, he found an old box in the attic containing letters written by one of the previous owners. The letters described experiences identical to his own, dreams, shadows, and an ever-growing sense that the house was watching. One night, while examining the house's blueprints, Jaime noticed something unusual, a space not shown in the original designs. A hidden room between the walls on the second floor. Determined to investigate, he drilled a hole in the wall and found a perfectly preserved room, as if frozen in time. Inside, there was an empty crib, shattered mirror, and a diary. The diary belonged to Sofia Vasquez, the youngest daughter of the missing family. The final pages warned of a door in the basement that must never be opened, a door leading to a place between worlds. Despite the warnings, Jaime decided to delve deeper. That night, he returned to the basement, where the door he had found earlier was now wide open, revealing an endless corridor. With every step, the walls seemed to close in, and the whispers from his dreams grew louder. At last, he reached a room bathed in an unnatural light, where he saw the shadows of the former owners, trapped and wailing as they reached out for him. The house wanted something from Jaime, a sacrifice to set it free or to trap him forever. He tried to escape, but every door he opened led him back to the basement. In desperation, Jaime confronted the entity at the heart of the house. In a final act of defiance, he burned the diary and letters in an attempt to sever the link to the past. The house began to tremble, and the shadows disappeared one by one. With his last ounce of strength, Jaime fled as the house collapsed behind him. Months later, Jaime had left the city and started anew, but he could never forget what had happened. One night, as he walked down his new street, he froze in place. Standing before him was an old Victorian house with the number 13 on its door.